Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about feeding. I asked the guardians how often they feed her. Right now, she's getting fed twice a day. When I have a puppy, I like to feed them at least 3 times a day. I fed mine 5 times a day. Now, I have a kind of home office, so I have the ability to do that. But if they only eat once or twice a day, their stomach has to stretch to accommodate all the food that they're eating. Later in life, they'll have a bigger stomach, they'll need to eat more, and it's easier for a dog to become fat. So I feed my dogs 5 times a day. Now, a couple things about feeding. When I first started feeding my dog, like I talked about in the other video, I have a puppy room that I set up for my puppy. So that's where he sleeps, that's where I fed him. Now, what I did for the first couple months is I fed him out of toys. I got treat dispensing toys. One was a ball, one was a kind of a ball with some feet, a cow. One that was like a dumbbell where the hole is on the side, so we had to flip it over to get a little bit of kibble. So when they move it, little bits of kibble come out. So it makes the toys interactive. It also makes the dog more inclined to want to chew on their toys because they distribute food that I can eat. And puppies love to eat. So I also had one that's a spinner. It's like 5 stars. If you go to doggoneproblems.com/quest, and you can search for feeding. But if you look through all the posts, there'll be one with kind of a yellow and green star. And it basically, they have to twist it, and then there's a little enclosure where you can put some kibble in. So the dog has to problem solve. It helps with their problem solving skills. It also makes the food more valuable because I have to really earn it. And so I would feed my dog out of about 3 to 5 toys. So it would take him 10, 15 minutes to eat all of his food because he had to nudge this ball. My favorite one is, it's about this big, it's orange or red, and it looks like a golf ball. And so when he nudges it, just right, a couple pieces of kibble come out. So that's what I would do for the first month or 2, just to make him really interested in chewing on his toys as opposed to chewing on the leather couch or the wooden table or the carpet or any of these other things. Dogs very much get in a habit. If you give your dog the ability to chew shoes when it's this age, it will develop a habit of chewing shoes. So if you don't have the ability to go to a puppy play area, make sure that the area is very clean. Don't leave blankets on ottomans like we have here. Don't leave the remote control accessible. Make sure the cords and stuff are tucked under things. If they don't have access to it and they don't ever do it, they just don't ever get in a habit of doing it. So, all right, those are some other just free tips, but let's get back to feeding. So what I do is I feed my dog about 3 to 5 times as a puppy, and once they get to about 8 months or a year, then I go to feed him just 3 times a day. Twice a day is fine as well. 1 time a day is not good because then they're going to spend a lot of the day hungry, and that makes us irritable, makes puppies irritable as well. So what I do is for a month or 2, I get them used to chewing on all these different toys to get their food. After that, when they get to, and so she's about 3 months, so maybe do this until she's 4 months, 4.5 months. We want to start doing this before she gets too old. Now for a puppy, if she's eating and I start petting her under here, a lot of times they'll start growling because I'm getting close to her mouth. And that's a natural response for them to growl as a warning. It's not aggression, it's the opposite aggression, it's saying you're getting too close. So what I want to do is when you're feeding her out of the bowl, you want to be petting her a little bit. First start towards her hip back here. Gradually, you're going to work all the way up here to the point where you're petting her on her chin, but that might take you a week or 2 before you can get up here without any growling. Also, you should be at times sitting next to her bowl of kibble. One of the little tricks, I'm reading all these books on puppy stuff because we're revamping the Quest Ed section of the website. One of the things this guy did suggested was put a bowl down, puppy's bowl down, grab 1 piece of kibble and put it in there, and have the rest of it in a jar up here. Dog goes over there and they look up at you with like this surprised face, and they gobble it down, they lick their bowl. Then we grab another piece and put it in there. So we kind of teach the dog that when the human's reaching into your bowl, it's good because they're improving the situation. Other things you can do is when she's eating, have a higher value treat. So when they're about halfway done with their meal, maybe we take a scoop of wet dog food or a high value train treat and plop it in there. Sometimes we put our hand in there and then bury a training treat. So dogs sometimes develop resource guarding. They are possessive of their food. We want your dog to understand that when the humans are near my food, not only do I not have to protect them from it, but I should welcome them to come in because every time they come over, they make my food situation better. They don't take my stuff, they may improve my stuff. The feeding your dog out of the toys makes a much stronger inclination to want to play with the toys because there's more of a benefit for them. But again, I do only do it for a month or two. Now the drawback to this is it does teach them to kind of get stuff off the ground. So you will have to later on do a leave it exercise and treat your dog, which is an easy thing to do. But I just, not to have a lifetime and not having to worry about your dog chewing the couch or the table or the carpet or the chairs is worth having to spend a little bit of time to teach your dog to leave it. Let me see what else. When it comes to food, let's talk a little bit about food. When you're reading a food label for dogs, whether it is a treat or dog food, they have to include the ingredients and the percentage they are in the bag. Now, meal is something that a lot of foods will use. Lamb meal, duck meal. Meal is typically the part of, the way I describe it best is it's a part of the animal that you would make hot dogs out of. It's not the desirable part of the animal. So if you're getting lamb and rice for your dog, and you look at the label and the first ingredient is not lamb, then that's a big problem because it should be the dominant ingredient. If it says lamb meal, that's like the anus, the eyeballs, the innards, the things that you don't generally want to do because they're going to sell the better quality stuff to human places that are going to package for humans. So it should be, if it's lamb and rice, lamb should be the first ingredient, rice should be like the second or third ingredient. If it has a lot of meal, anything with meal in it, or if it says flavor. You know, I don't eat food that has apple flavor with it. I get the apple flavor from eating an apple. So if your food has a lot of labels that says food or coloring or a lot of preservative words, those are probably not the higher end foods that you want to be using. In Omaha, I like going to the Green Spot. It's the only store in town that's owned by people who actually have a degree in animal nutrition. I feed my puppy Origin, O-R-A-J-E-N or J-I-N, I can't remember the spelling, puppy. And it's a very high protein food. It's wheat and corn free. Grains, dogs can only digest about 10% of grains. If your food has a lot of grains in it, that means you're adding to basically the poop that your dog's going to poop out. So the higher quality food you feed your dog, the less poop that will come out of your dog. So get a high quality food. What I do at first is I start them on puppy food, and you want them on puppy food because it's a fatter food and you want to get it. Don't go to Costco or Petco. Your dog is really sucking the nutrients out of these. It's helping with their bone density, their muscle development, their growth, all these fun things. Shorting your dog by spending an extra, or saving an extra $5 or $10 a bag for the first year of their life can lead to some health issues. So splurge a little bit. Origin is a more expensive brand, but it's less poop that comes out of your dog, and your dog's going to grow up to be stronger, have better joints, better muscles, better teeth, better bone development, all that fun stuff. I also like to use goat's milk. Now, goat's milk, I only do, when you do that, make sure it's very rich, so make sure you do it early in the day. I would do it as like a dessert after the breakfast meal. If you give it late in the day, sometimes they'll get the squirts and they'll get some diarrhea problems overnight. We don't want to have to clean that up. I had to learn that one the hard way. Now, a lot of dogs will become lactose intolerant around 6 months. So I like to give the goat's milk until they're about 4 to 5 months, somewhere in that range, to help with their bone density and development. It's very rich, but like I said, it can give them some diarrhea. Yes, you're a sweetheart. Now, if your dog does get diarrhea, one of the things you can do is you can give them a little bit of cottage cheese if they're not lactose intolerant. If they are, you can give them a little bit of canned pumpkin, the same thing you make out of pumpkin pie. I have 2 cans of canned pumpkin in my cupboard at all times. Anytime my dog has diarrhea, I give them a scoop with their food for a meal or two until they're back to 100%. Feeding your dog out. And this isn't aggression when she's biting my neck, or she just wants to bite. You know, that's just how they sample things. Little kids put everything in their mouth. Puppies very much the same way. And this is part of her way of saying, I'm rambunctious, I want to get down, so you better wrap up this video. So let me see. So feeding your dog, get a high quality food, no wheat or corn in it. Make sure it's the ingredient that says whatever the label is. Origin, Akana are both really good quality foods. I'm not a big fan of Petco and PetSmart. They usually have these brands like Iams or whatever. They're not bad foods, but they're not the best foods, and they spend a lot of money on advertising. Akana and Origin, you'll never see an ad for them because they put all the quality in the food, which means your dog's getting the more nutrients, which is what they need. Again, feed multiple times a day. Again, there's nothing wrong with when you're having friends come over, incorporate that in a meal time. Maybe have your friend go over and sit next to the bowl, and then they take a scoop out of the bag or whatever. You have a bowl with the measured out amount, and then they have their dog bowl on the floor. You grab a little bit, put a couple pieces in there. So when people come over, they give me food. Again, another positive association for the dog, for people, and that's what we want your dog to feel good about other people, not to feel that they're a threat or they're going to steal their food. All right, before I get my shirt chewed up, we're going to end this video. So this is a quick video. Well, not necessarily quick, but this is a video on how you can feed your puppy and the types of food to feed your puppy. Right?